We all have an innate tendency to inertia. It's just part of our heritage. One of my teachers describes it as, let me be just the way I am a little bit longer. And that's fine until we know we need to make a change, or until we are faced with resistance to something that for some reason we're putting off or just can't mobilize our resources to actually do. That innate tendency to inertia, when it's coupled with a dangerous attachment to the outcome of whatever we're resisting, ends up giving us procrastination. And these two things, the inertia, if we want to call it, the sloth, the resistance, and this tendency to procrastinate as a result, can derail all of our best intentions and keep us from meeting our full potential. So I have two thoughts about what we might be able to do to help ourselves out of this dilemma. And the first is to just move the body, to generate some energy and to kind of lift us off of dead center. It takes more energy to get something started than it does to get maintained. So if we can just find some physical energy, even if the resistance is mental, we may be able to move along in the direction that we know we need to. And that movement can be any kind of movement. If you're not a yoga practitioner, taking a walk or sports or dancing or just moving around can be helpful. But the yoga practices, particularly the ones that are coupled with the breath and mental awareness in movement, like the asanas, and also things like Tai Chi and the martial arts, those are the most effective in mobilizing energy and also then directing and focusing it. So let's start. So coupling with the breath, we'd inhale, so stretching up, and exhale down. And you can do this in any way you like, but just continue to move and try to keep yourself present with the movement and also with the breath. And we can do things like move the arms in a different way along with the legs. And you can move in all kinds of ways. It doesn't have to be structured, and you want to kind of move with what feels organic for you, so that you do kind of find your way into a bigger space and into a sense of mobility and possibility with respect to how you're moving and not stuck in one track. So you may want to take a bit of a twist. So again, owning the space of the body. And inhaling one side and exhaling the other, doesn't really matter which. Circling the arms is a good one to build an opening of the chest and the breath. So inhaling as the chest opens and exhaling as it comes forward, and come up on the tiptoes if you like. And again, you can move at whatever speed seems appropriate. If there's injury or discomfort in the body or range of movement is restricted, move slowly so that you're able to find your way into the right degree of movement and the right speed for yourself. And if you find you have easy range of movement, then move a little more quickly so that you are able to generate some forward momentum. This standing work, you might also clasp your hands behind your back. The standing work tends to get things moving, but we also then want to direct ourselves inward, because that's where we will be able to take charge of how we're spending our energy, as opposed to then kind of wandering aimlessly from whatever attracts our attention in the environment around us, but to stay on track with what we know we need to do. So at some point, we want to move to the floor so that we begin to collect ourselves and reach a state of inner dynamic energy that's very still at the same time. So you can make that transition by coming in and out of Utkatasana, and again, moving with the breath. You see I'm alternating arms in front and arms out to the side, and just bending the knees so the whole body is involved. You start to be aware of the whole body as well as the breath, and it captures also your mental awareness. And then at some point, you want to come forward and fingertips to the floor. Keep your knees bent so that it's a little bit soft. And then see if you can shift your weight a little bit from one foot to the other, bending a knee. So begin to opening up through the legs. It's a lot of energy that is locked up in the legs and in the pelvis, and we like to get access there. So now we're going to step back with one foot and then bending the front knee and lowering the back knee towards, or the back leg towards the floor, and back and forth a bit here. So depending on how tight you are across the top of the thigh, you may want to bring the knee to the mat and take a few resting breaths just to allow the thigh to open a bit, and also to settle your mind and your breath. Find to use a block, the furniture, the hands on the thigh itself, whatever works for you. You want to follow the feel so that you begin to find in your own body the places that feel resistant or stuck or offline in some way. Another thing that is nice here is to begin to straighten the front leg, and you can bend your back knee if you need to. So you open the back of the leg by lifting the toes and just rocking back, and then perhaps even stretching the foot towards the floor so that you open through the back of the leg, and then you can move back and forth in this way. So the legs get a stretch. And then you can step back to switch sides, either to downward dog, but otherwise just knees to the mat and stretch the arms out. So you continue to expand here by reaching the arms out in front of you. And also you draw your attention down into the pelvis here. And then stepping the other side forward. And come up and down a few times, focusing on the back leg. And then again, either hands on the floor, on a block, on furniture, on the leg. You can either even do something like this with the arms, inhaling up just like we were doing in the standing position, and exhaling down. If you're moving, try to move with the breath. And in any case, paying attention to the experiences of the body. And then repeating the hamstring stretch here. And then again, back to child's pose or downward dog. And this time, slide your hands forward and lower down, and then come on an inhale into cobra pose. Exhaling down. You can turn your toes under if you'd like. Lift from your back. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And again, back to child's pose. And then coming to sitting with an inhale, stretch up and to the side, and exhale, arm out and down. Inhale up to the side, and up on an inhale, and exhale and down. Feet on the floor, dropping the knees to the right, twisting to the right. Couple breaths, and then inhale back to center, and drop the knees to the other side. Exhaling, a breath, and on your next inhale, back to center. One resting breath. And then come back to standing, and this time we're going to work in particular right here in the abdomen. So this is a version of Agnisara that some of you may know. On the exhale, just a strong contraction from the entire abdominal wall back towards the front of the spine. So it's a squeeze on the exhale and a gentle releasing on the inhale. This is the center of our vitality and also the hub from which it's distributed. So continue for a few more breaths, because this is the key for strongly activating the energy that you can use to overcome your resistance to change, whether it's a habit or just not wanting to move on with what needs to get done. And then let's come to standing. Take a big inhalation, reaching up, and exhale the arms out and down. Bend the knees, bend forward, and we'll come back down to sitting. This time, come all the way down and face down into crocodile pose. So you'll recall feet about mat width apart, elbows under shoulders, shoulder width apart, arms stacked and resting the forehead. I'm going to stay here for a couple of breaths, for a couple of minutes really, because breathing is the other way in which we can begin to overcome the inertia, the resistance to change. Partly in crocodile pose, we become aware of how we're breathing, and the breath begins to normalize, to become a little smoother, continuous, and that means that the nervous system comes into balance. And when that happens, the tension in our body, which zaps our energy and also undermines our focus, because when the breathing is erratic and chaotic, so is the mind. So our attention to the quality of our breathing helps us to conserve our energy and also to be focused. And it also, of course, is a more effective building of energy. The second thing that happens when we start to pay attention to the breath is that we become sensitive to the touch of the breath. And that gives us presence of mind. We're present in the body, we're present in the moment. And that is the key to overcoming procrastination. So now if you'd like to sit back in child's pose, take a breath or two, and then come up to sitting. Any sitting position is fine, on a chair, any way you would like to sit comfortably. Just close your eyes and bring your attention to the touch of the breath in the nose. And from that, you'll feel a presence in the body. Invite awareness of the inner space of the body, of the position of the body, of your presence in this moment, in the context And that presence of mind brought to you by the touch of the breath in the nose and its capacity to draw your attention to the eyebrow center or even higher and deeper is what allows you to move from an inner place of dynamic stillness to move forward with discrimination and intuition and to bypass the attachment to future outcomes that might be worrisome. So we can be free from our attachment on the potential futures and more present in the moment. And that allows us to start step by step in the moment, working from our own inner anchor to overcome any resistance and to do what we know needs to be done. So I hope this short practice and this attention to the touch of the breath in the nose, which is available to you at any time, any place, will help you to continue to stay on track and focused.